Good morning, everyone. It has been a while since I've seen everyone. I'm excited that you guys are joining us today. My name is Eleni Summershield. I'm the Chief Operating Officer here at Wise Agent, and I have our fabulous Erika with us. Erika is part of our product team. She's, gosh, what's your exact title, Erika? It's like
Integrations and partner specialist, industry relations and partner specialist. It's a little wordy.
it's a little wordy, yes, but we love having you, and you bring so much knowledge to our team here. You are an industry, I would say, veteran. Like, you've been in the industry for how many years?
So this year will actually be my official 10-year mark in the real estate technology space. And thank you, Eleni, for allowing me to join. I'm super excited to be here this morning. It's a real honor to be able to be acknowledged and to be able to impart my wisdom on some of the things that I've experienced in the industry. So just a little bit of background on me. I kind of started in 2016 under Move Inc., under a pretty well-known CRM, was there for about 2 years until I was tapped on to help with an acquisition to another well-known CRM, where I stayed until last year when I joined over at Wise Agent. So my primary focus had always been in support. So I have a lot of experience with talking to real estate agents and brokers and large teams, small teams, mortgage brokers, anyone who's using CRM technology. I've had a pleasure of speaking with, and that, also involves, issues that they're having with the CRM, how to manage their dashboard and things like that. And I think it really helps with knowing what would be beneficial in a CRM for real estate professionals. So I'm really excited to have been given this opportunity and to be here with you all today.
Oh, well, thanks. That's awesome, Erika. Well, we love having you. You bring so much value to our team, and I think we're going to bring some of that value here today to everybody else as they kind of, I always think of this webinar as people eavesdropping on my conversations with my friends, because I do talk a lot about work and a lot about the industry with my friends. I have a lot of industry friends. So I hope we impart some wisdom all to you guys. This is, so today's conversation is just going to be all about like how you're going to be working your CRM. Like, the title is Leading the Way in Real Estate CRM Technology. So a lot of the things that we're doing, some of the things that the new implementations that we've put into place within our CRM are some of the things that we're going to go over today, because those are some really very powerful tools that will help you become more productive and help kind of flow with the flow of communication, either internally with your own team, but then also to your clients and to your database. So we're all about helping you guys and supporting you in your efforts in your business. So we always think of ourselves as an extension of your business, as the real estate agent's business. So we're going to be imparting some of that. And it's been a while. I feel like it's been a minute since I've talked to everybody. So feel free to ask any questions. There's a little Q&A section down there, and there's also a chat. So feel free to ask any questions as well throughout this. So before the webinar today, we had a lot of people, register, and as part of the registration process was to ask any questions that they may have. And one theme that I saw over and over again, Erika, was people asking about emails and like best practices on email sending, and like when and how often. So like the frequency rate, all this stuff. People want to know a lot about emails, which I was really happy about, because as you know, it still works, right?
Absolutely. It's definitely a great question, and it's one of the things that we see from real estate professionals on a regular basis, because it is really hard, especially if you're a newer agent and you're just kind of getting into things. It's really hard to know how often you should tap into, reaching out to your contacts to make sure that you're staying at the forefront of their mind without being one of those individuals that are constantly spamming someone's inbox with information that's not valid, that's not going to lead to an actual transaction. And so it's really important to kind of find a balance. And what thankfully Wise Agent has to help you guys get through that is we offer the drip campaign email marketing tool in the platform. So you can create a drip campaign that is automatically set to touch those clients for you, so you don't have to worry about it. We also have another amazing tool called the newsletter. So Wise Agent already pre-built newsletters each month. So you can copy that newsletter for both print and email. So you can also use that as an option to send out on a monthly basis to keep yourself in the forefront of your leads' minds. And the great thing about that newsletter also is it's not always going to be content that's related to real estate specifically. It might be local events, it might be a recipe. And so those things are really great tools in the platform to utilize. We've got a lot of really great pre-built templates. And so that's one of the things within Wise Agent that we've already thought about for our members and have been working to improve. And so I definitely recommend utilizing that. After this webinar, we can absolutely send out helpful resources about how to use our drip campaigns. We've got some really helpful video content. Our marketing team is amazing. And so they do a really great job about giving information about how to use our product. And then we also have really knowledgeable support team members that write content on support articles on how to use those features as well. So we can absolutely send out information for you to get used to using that system, because it's always a bit weird when you're just new getting into a CRM system and figuring out how to use that feature.
Well, and so to that, to that point, I want to, kind of let everyone know what we do here is a little bit unique. And anytime, like what you were saying, it is hard to go from transitioning from one CRM or one system, right? Like your system might be Post-it notes. I'm like, I think I have a block of like empty Post-it. Like you might have a million of these little Post-it notes sitting around, like floating around your desk or your area, or you might have spreadsheets. So hopefully you take, your Post-it notes and put them into some kind of system. But transitioning from whatever it is that you're currently using to Wise Agent is really simple. We've made it really easy for you to be able to just kind of export from the one platform and import into our platform. But then also, like what Erika was mentioning, is that we have our support staff that helps you throughout that whole entire process and setting up everything, not just your contacts, even though that's the center of your business is your contacts, but everything else, your profile and any of your internet lead sources and all of that stuff. So that is a huge value add, just like right there. I do, there's already questions coming in, which I love seeing. I want to go back to our emails. And I know, Erika, you work a lot with like our development team and like compliance and making sure that like, we don't have to, no one's getting into trouble, sending out like spamming messages and whatnot. So we'll talk about that in a second. But I think letting everyone kind of see firsthand the platform. I know there was a question like, can you show us the newsletter, what you were talking about? So I want to share my screen here right now to share how some of the marketing tools that we have look. So then you're able to see this. So I'll show the newsletter so you all can see. But we do have 3 versions of that. It's written in English for the US market, written in Spanish for the US market, and then written in English for the Canadian market, right? So the spelling is a little bit different. Somebody had asked me like, what's Canadian? I'm like, well, it's just like, color is spelled with a U and all that good stuff, right? So you can pick your designations, and then you can go ahead and we pre-write this, and you can come in here and like add to it, remove from it, and do whatever it is that you want to do. And then you save it. You can share it to your whole entire team if you're using our outside team. And then this is where you would be able to email it. So once you save it, there's like a button that will click where then you can, save that content and then reuse it here, where now you can say, well, here are my newsletters. Here's my newsletter that I want to send out. I can include pictures. I can change things around and just kind of make it how I want to make it, and totally customize it to myself and for myself and for my business. So this is something that, we encourage everyone to use. So something going out every month to your database should include things that they would like to see, something that is relevant to your business. Of course, it should always have your branding, your contact information. You should have that at somewhere, at least at one spot. And then what happens is when the email goes out, you can have like your signature on the bottom. And what you don't see here in the preview is the unsubscribe link, right? So we handle all of the unsubscribes for you. So then if someone does unsubscribe, we remove that. But sending out a monthly newsletter to everyone in your database, I think is a really important and wise decision to make in order to keep yourself relevant and in front of and top of mind to your database. So I know Erika, you might shed some light on some of the like do's and don'ts of sending out emails. So I'll let you go ahead and take that part up.
Absolutely. So, as everyone knows, it's really annoying to receive a lot of email content, and it kind of happens across the board. You go to a gas station and they're asking you to provide you with a phone number and an email address, and all of a sudden now you're getting a large number of text messages and emails from this gas station that you just wanted to save a couple pennies on to, stand at the pump and pump your gas. And I think a lot of businesses are really leaning into utilizing both features, both sending text messages and emails. And unfortunately, that also translates to a lot of folks not knowing, as we mentioned, how often and what type of content to send out to their contacts. So as a result, we end up receiving a lot of content that's not relevant to us at all. And a lot of it goes straight to our junk inbox. So there have recently been some new changes, both in the email industry as well as the text message industry. So I really just kind of wanted to touch on that as well, because it's really difficult to avoid finding yourself sending out content that's not relevant, because you want to be at the forefront of people's
Right.
minds.
Well, and I think it's important to note here too, we're not discouraging you from sending out emails. Like we send out a ton of emails, like from like Wise Agent, from us as a company to you all, right? And you'll see that. We're not discouraging email sending or text sending. We're just telling you there's a way of doing it. There's a right way of doing it. And Erica's gonna kind of and I'm going to be taking some notes so then we can even bullet point it here in the chat for you all.
Absolutely. So one of the biggest things to note when you're sending out email content is to make sure that you're sending out content that's relevant to these individuals and how often you're sending it. Another thing to kind of keep in mind is to make sure that as you're importing your lists into the Wise Agent platform, you're making sure that that contact information that you have is still valid, because email providers are paying attention to the content that you're sending out. They're paying attention to the frequency, and they're paying attention to things like bounce rates. So if you have a database that has 50,000 contacts in it that you've moved from one CRM to another, but this database is 15 years old, a large number of those email addresses are going to be invalid. And when you attempt to send a large number of messages, like 5,000 emails per day, which is also not something that I'd typically recommend. You definitely want to condense the number of messages that you're sending. But if you send out 5,000 emails per day, if more than 10% of those emails end up bouncing, Wise Agent will kind of let you know, hey, we're seeing a lot of these emails not going through, and it'll be a good point at that time to go in and make sure that you're cleaning up your database. Another thing that I kind of wanted to briefly touch on is purchasing lists. A lot of companies are going to offer you the ability to purchase a large number of contacts from their platform, and you want to be really careful when you're doing that. Obviously, we can't tell anyone how to conduct their business, but a lot of those email list providers are going to provide you with recycled contact information. So one, you're not the only agent that very likely is reaching out to that individual. And I don't think a lot of them do a lot in the way of making sure that that contact information is valid as well. Another thing to consider is if you're purchasing a list, that individual has no idea who you are when you start sending out that email content. So you want to make sure that you have permission from that individual as well. It's really important to make sure that they've opted in some way to receive that content. So if you're just starting out with the Wise Agent CRM, it's always a good practice to kind of send an introductory email and just kind of let folks know, hey, you're going to be receiving emails from me, and to kind of make them aware. Another thing to consider is the type of content that you're sending. The subject lines that you're sending in these emails are also very important. You want to make sure that you're using content in that subject line that's grabbing people's attention, but doesn't come off as spammy. So you don't want to use a whole, string of capital letters in your subject line with 15 different emojis that have nothing to do with your email. You want it to be clear and concise, and you want to make sure that it's relevant to the content that you're sending them. We also have another really helpful knowledge-based article in our Wise Agent resource library as well that has a lot of really great tips about what to do and what not to do. And we can also, link that in.
Yeah, in the chat.
Yep.
Yeah, I think, what you were saying about like even the emojis, I've gotten some like emails with the subject line and it's like, do you want to try whatever XYZ? And it's like a cowboy, when there's like a beer thing and whatever and cowboy boots. And I'm like, oh, okay, so this has got to be some like country western themed product or whatever. And it has nothing to do with any of it. And I'm like, oh, that was weird. Like, are they hosting some kind of hoedown? Like, what is happening here? And it had no relevance whatsoever. That is like misleading. And so you want to avoid some of those things. I mean, it's just, I think some of the things that, and I don't think we see those as much, and you probably would know more than I would. Like, we don't see a lot of those like free, free, free with like a million exclamation points in the subject lines. I think those days are hopefully behind us, that people aren't doing that.
I'll be honest, I still get quite a bit of frequent emails myself personally in my personal inbox
Okay.
that are formatted that way or that just have bad formatting in general. And they
Yeah.
do read as very spammy. You look at emails like that and you're like, first of all, I don't know who this individual is or
Right.
how they got my email in the first place. And I don't even want to open it because the spacing in the subject line to start with is weird. So you want to make sure little things like that, people are paying attention before they actually
Yeah.
open the email. A really great practice when you're sending email content is to think about yourself in your contact's position. If I was an individual that was looking to buy or sell a home and I happened to stop in at an open house and now this agent is sending me content, but it's for a city that I wasn't even attending the open house in. Their subject line is all captions and it's like, you'll find the best deals here. I'm gonna, give you all the
Right.
best listings and things like that. It comes off as very spammy. So you really want to pay attention to your wording. Make sure that, again, your subject line is clear and concise. Absolutely draw their attention, but you don't want to overdo it. There is absolutely a fine line, and
Yeah.
including bunch of emojis in there that have
Yeah.
nothing to do with the content that you're selling
Right.
is a really quick way to get somebody to look at the email and just automatically disregard it and toss it into that spam folder, which
Yeah.
unfortunately is another thing that carriers will look at. They will look at how often you're getting marked as spam. And that does ultimately hurt your email reputation. And that is something that you absolutely want to take care of because the last thing that you want to have happen is to have a big email provider like Gmail recognize I'm receiving emails from this particular individual. A large percentage of them are going straight to spam or they're bouncing. This is probably someone who's sending out spam content. And then it's really hard to come back to rebuild your email reputation after it's been damaged. So you want to avoid that from the beginning. And again, we do have a compliance policy already in place. If we start to notice that there's a lot of negative email behaviors, we are proactive. So we will reach out and we'll say, hey, here are some tips that you can utilize to kind of help make sure that you are doing a good job. You're sending out content that's relevant. We're seeing a lot of bounce back. So maybe these contacts need to be cleaned up in your database a little bit, which is a great usage of our categories tool in the Wise Agent CRM to make sure that you're sending out content that are relevant to the individuals you want it to go to. So we are very proactive because, again, as Eleni said, we are an extension of your business. Your success is absolutely our success. We want you to sell homes and do a great job and use the Wise Agent platform to do it. And then tell all your friends, Wise Agent helped me get there.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Some things to like kind of to start doing, I would say is absolutely when you're sending out an email, it is, we have these placeholders for first and last name. And I always see it in like, the beginning part where it's like, hello, Erica, or whatever. You say, you give your greetings. And then that's it. And then you never use that placeholder ever again. And I think that's a big miss. I think putting it in the subject line, and I'm happy to share my screen. I know people are like, can you show this? Can you show that? So I'm going to share my screen. because I think it's so important where you can just put in the subject line, like, the first name and just say, first name, and I'm going to just reverse the order here. Did you know, I don't know, whatever this is about, like here's 5 packing hacks for your move. And this is a newsletter, it's not a regular email, but in the email or even in the newsletter, it could be personalized. Like you could put a first name like right here in the middle of the sentence if you want. So just picking, obviously you want to put it in like the right space and the right place for it. And so you want to make sure, and I'm going to just change this all out and make sure that I'm going to get some other content in here. But you want to make sure that you're that you're putting in some information for them to see this, but like their first name doesn't just have to go in here. It could just be anywhere in here. Like I understand, Erica, that this is going to be, I don't know, and whatever it is that you want to say, but you can just add these placeholders throughout the whole entire body of the message. So then again, it's personalized. They keep seeing their name throughout the whole thing. And so this is something that really will be kind of a showstopper for them. And most especially in the subject line, because it does 2 things in the subject line. The first thing it does is it tells the incoming server, right, that email server of your recipients, this subject line, because if you're sending out to like a bunch of Gmail email addresses, they're going to be counting how many of these subject line, the same subject line is coming from you to their server. And so you might know like 15 Ericas, but if you don't put a subject line and you're sending this out to like 3,000 people, it's going to be the same 3,000 messages. And let's say 2,000 of them or 1,500 of them are in Gmail. It's going to look like alert. They're sending out bulk messages and the subject line is the same for everybody. Now it's going to look different. Like I know 15 Ericas. I'm Greek. I know like 50 Johns and, 35 Georges and, so on and so forth. And so, that's going to look different from the server side. So your deliverability rate will be increased.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's a really great tip because again, as I mentioned in terms of compliance, they are absolutely paying attention to things like that. And so again, if you send out that subject line to a large number of contacts, you have to consider that the majority of them are going to go to the most popular email providers, and that's Gmail, Yahoo, and Outlook, things like that. And if you have a very in your face subject line that is not individualized, like Eleni said, it is basically just hitting their server over and over, and they are paying attention to things like that. So that is a really great tip to utilize to help kind of bypass that compliance issue to make sure that you're, not getting flagged.
Right. And then the second thing it does, kind of on a personal level for the recipient, what it does is when they're scanning their inbox and they see their first name in the subject line, they're like, wait a second, hold the phone. Wait, they used my name. Like, surely this is somebody that I know, so they're going to, the likelihood of them opening up that message because it has their first name in it, the likelihood of them opening it up, I think drastically increases. I believe it's somewhere like 50% likely increase in the open rate, just simply by adding their first name to the subject line. So those are 2 things that are so easy that we've built in for you, and we've made it super simple for you to just do to help you with your deliverability and with your open rate. Because those are 2 things. I think a lot of times we talk about like, how do we build this and who do we send it to and how frequently, but it's also like, you got to be looking at your statistics after the fact, right? After an email has been sent out, what's the relevancy? And you will be able to tell the relevancy by your open rate and by your click-through rate. And so those are things that we also report to you, and you should be looking at that and saying like, okay, I sent this one email, like I sent my monthly newsletter out to these people. And from here, who was opening it? And what were they clicking on any of the links? Like there was maybe a link that you put in there like, hey, do you want to start an MLS search? And maybe you gave them a CloudStream link or something else like that. You want to make sure that you include that and you look at that to see like, oh, okay, well, these people are clicking on that. One, it's going to tell you that that email is relevant to them. And 2, it's going to indicate to you that they they might be searching for a home. That's kind of like their little flag saying like, I'm here and I am looking at what you're sending and I am interested in what you're saying. And that can narrow down like your next email to them.
That's actually to kind of segue into that. Another really great tip in terms of building out your email content. Another really great practice is to send out what is called A and B messages. And so since we're already providing you with information on who's opening your emails, whether or not they're clicking through links and things like that, it really helps you kind of gauge which emails are performing well. And one of the really great practices to kind of help you improve your overall email deliverability is to know what type of content to send out. And the best way to do that is with practice. As you're sending out emails, it's maybe a good idea to send out 2 different types of email with content that is similar, but not exactly the same, not formatted the same way. And then to pay attention to which type of content, which format it was that received the higher open rates, which email performed better. And that way, this is what's working for my market. I'm going to keep using formats that look similar to this or sending out content similar to this. It's a really good way to kind of learn about your personal database to send out those different types of message and really pay attention to those analytics because it's only going to help you in the future. I know for myself personally, it's not a whole lot of fun looking at the number and data and things like that, but it really does kind of help you narrow down and just improve your overall skills because eventually you want all of your email content to be open. So
Yeah.
being able to know what is working for your market is really important, and it sets you apart from other agents as well, because odds are there's just going to be, the one and done emails and content that is not personalized to folks and things like that, because we do have a lot of contacts in our databases and it can be overwhelming. But if you spend that extra time building out your database and getting to know your market, it's only going to help you improve the number of transactions that you're having and things like that.
Yeah. So I love all of these tips that we've been providing. I hope you guys are going to be sending out emails and doing this in a very successful way, obviously, but then also staying compliant. But I'm one of those people, I am data driven. So, right, like I like seeing like, okay, what's working for me? Because then that's where I'm going to double down and say like, okay, I'm going to need to send this. As I mentioned, like sending out a monthly newsletter is a fabulous idea. But then you may want to start, if you're seeing that your monthly newsletter is getting great an open rate and a high open rate, then what you might want to do is say like, why am I waiting 30 days or 31 days for people to get the next message from me? Let me start doing like, sometimes it might not be possible to do a weekly one, but like do it by like, every 2 weeks, and then just sending, getting in the practice of then maybe writing more content. And it can be shorter versions of content that then go off to other sites. So it doesn't all have to be like the content doesn't all have to be sourced by you. It can be linked out to other resources, that are out there.
Another thing I wanted to point out, just as kind of, and I'm sure everyone is already aware, absolutely, you want to utilize these marketing tools that we have available in our system, but I don't want to downplay the importance of getting to know your actual leads, getting to know your contacts. The most important tool that you have as a real estate professional is yourself and, your ability to talk to people. It is so important, especially from a consumer's perspective. If I go to a store or a restaurant on a regular on a regular basis, rather, and the waitress knows who I am, she knows my order, it makes me feel seen. And I think as a human, just in general, that acknowledgement is something that we all crave. And so
Right.
if you're really paying attention to your leads and the information that they're giving you, that really helps you to send out content that's specific to them. So it's really important to make sure that along with these drip campaigns, and newsletters that you're sending out, you're also sending out personalized messages to your contacts. If they let you know that, they're coming up on their 20th year marriage anniversary, and it's, in the month of September, make sure that you're shooting them a quick note that says, hey, I just wanted to say congratulations again on 20 years of marriage, because that type of interaction with a lead, especially someone that's not sure if they're planning on utilizing you for purchasing a home, it is really invaluable to let them know that not only are you thinking about them, but you're paying attention to what it is that they've already told you. And the Wise Agent dashboard is a really great tool to allow you to capture those notes and make sure that you're documenting all of that. So while it's absolutely a great practice to make sure you're utilizing those drip campaigns and the frequency of the emails that you're sending out, I also want to stress how important it is to make sure that you are also sending out those individualized messages, because it really does make a difference when an individual knows that you know them, if
Right.
that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. So I want to segue a little bit onto some of the work that we've been doing. I want to give our development team a little shout out because they've been working hard this summer. A lot of times people like take the summer off and go do some things. Not that we've not let them take a moment to take some time off this summer, but they've been working really hard and they've done some amazing things. One of my biggest, like, because I put in requests and suggestions for the CRM myself, right? I hear it from when I'm traveling, I hear it from some of our members. One of my favorite things is our the at mentions. And this is such, and I don't know if you guys all know about this, and if you're new to Wise Agent, or you're just starting off with us, or you're still, going to start a trial or not. This is a great way for team communication, because this is something a lot of times, like you mentioned, Erika, like, having leads coming in when you're, either a team lead or a broker and you're distributing leads. It's always nice, like, so what happened? Like, this is new business that has come in. I've acquired this contact somehow, some way, shape, or form. Like, is anyone working this contact? Is anyone working this prospect? And so this is the app mentions is a great way to kind of give the rest of your team kind of some indication that this is what's happening. So you can use it to summarize. So I can say, like, at Rachel. And so then I can use it as, like, at Rachel, here's a summary of, where we're at with this client. So you could use it as a summary to your team lead or broker, if it's a lead distribution. But if you're on, maybe you have an admin and you're like, okay, instead of me now getting off of Wise Agent and going to the text or doing this or doing that, or setting an email or sending a Slack, I'm just going to say, at Rachel, can you please get this disclosure signed and do whatever it is that I need to have done for this next step to happen. And then the beauty of it is you're not leaving the note. All of this is being tracked, and the recipient, right? So, like, Rachel would get an email saying, like, hey, Eleni posted this note for you on this particular client. So I think this is a really big one. I don't know about you, Erika. Was there?
Absolutely, absolutely. Team communication is also one of the core things that you need to pay attention to in your business, because if the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing, a lot of times you'll have more than one individual trying to reach out to a single prospect. And as a consumer, that's kind of annoying, and it definitely feels like you're not paying attention to what you're doing. So why should I offer my business to you? So having the ability to have that internal communication within the system is paramount. And I also wanted to add on to Eleni's explanation with that app mention. We have kind of discussed how is this going to benefit our users in the best way. So not only will you see that note within the platform, but as soon as Eleni goes and hits save on that message, whoever she's indicated that she's mentioning is automatically going to receive a notification for that mention. So you'll see it in the platform. If that individual now goes into the system because there was a call to action, Rachel, I need you to contact this particular client to set up an appointment for me, or they have a specific listing that they'd like to go and see. Can you please take a look at my calendar and schedule the best time and date for that? Whatever the case is, Rachel's going to receive an email to let her know that she's received this message. She can now go into the platform and edit that existing note and add another at mention to say, at Eleni. Yes, absolutely. I will do that. I've spoken with the lead. I've looked at your calendar. They're looking to go and view 3 properties on Saturday, whatever date it is. And now Eleni's going to receive a notification email. to further expand on that communication, if Eleni responds to that email, Rachel's going to get that response. And so you can actually respond to that notification, and whoever created that notification is going to receive that email. So it opens up that communication. You're not limited to just adding a note and that's it. You're just going to get that one notification. You can't really do anything after the fact. You can build on that. And it's really important to make sure that as a team, you're communicating to make sure that you're offering your lead the best service possible. So our development team, as Eleni mentioned, is fantastic. I have the pleasure of working with them on a regular basis. And so I think they did a really great job with thinking about all of the niches with building out this feature and making it the most useful that it can be for all of our members. So it's a
Yeah.
really great tool.
Yeah. What, well, so I'm going to share my screen really quick, and then you can tell us like what one of your new, what one of your like the features that we have released this summer is one of your favorites. So I'm going to share, I know we shared this on social, is what I heard is that our little friend down here, Owly. So on the bottom left-hand side of my screen, there's like a little owl down here. And if you click on him, or her, I guess, then it opens up a new tab here and it shows you all of our updates. And so you can see like our dev team has been busy. They've been doing some things. And so you can see where we have our team mentions here. And you know, we've done some other new things. So Erika, what's been your what's one of your favorites from, and it doesn't have to be from this summer because we've been doing a lot this like whole year. So this
I
is
was just gonna say, I know that the development team has been working really hard, and just to kind of highlight, they have also been doing a lot of really great work on the back end of the system, just to make sure that you're able to utilize it effectively and that it's not taking a long time to load for you guys. And so I really wanted to give them a shout out for all of the hard work that they're doing. But in general, one of the things that I think that Wise Agent really excels at is the ability to listen to our members, because I have absolutely worked at several CRMs, and it was one of the most frequent complaints that I got from individuals is that, I need XYZ for this reason, and I would really love for this feature to be added into the platform. And it's not usually something that we would see anything kind of done with it. And this app mentions, as Eleni mentioned, is something that one of our members suggested. And immediately we all recognized that it was something that was super beneficial to all of our members, and we were able to get it released very quickly. And so one of the things that is so important to me is all of the integrations that we offer. As I mentioned, it's really important to make sure that you are keeping in contact with all of your leads and making sure that you know them. And so one of the awesome features that we have in Wise Agent already is the lead enhancement. And so if an individual is on social media, you'll be able to see that information within their lead summary. But we also have integrations that are designed to help you gain more information about that individual, like the Cool Realty resource integration that we've got. And so I think highlighting all of the integrations that we have in general is really important. And as our members, if you have suggestions on what you think we should be adding into the platform, we are all ears, because we're looking to make this system as efficient for you as possible.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I do love all of our partner integrations, and I love all of our partners. I love engineering, the best of what they are offering with the best of, what we have, and being able to kind of marry the two platforms together to give our members like the best experience of both of those integrated partners. And so that is a great one too. I'm going to share though one other thing, because I know I got several texts from some of my friends and some of our members about this one when we released it, and they were just like, oh my gosh, I love this. So what we did is on our profile page, we've updated our profile page. But we've added this new addition, and this, you guys, is such a huge, it's a huge time saver, where I was like, you know what, guys, we need to do something where we can easily create the email signatures, have all of our social links, already kind of embedded in there, and everyone has something different, right? So I'm not on TikTok, but maybe, you guys are on TikTok and you're on Instagram, and that's pretty much it. It kind of doesn't, it allows you to just maybe put that in here, just put this here. And then when you create your email signature, it's just pulling from those two social profiles that you have. And so then you don't have to go and delete like the other ones that we have or do anything like that. So I love that when we added this, this was like, yay, I love saving time and giving people just kind of like those little things that are needed. So, and then if you need to add something new, you just keep adding and it'll be, I don't even know what this is. Like I'm so behind on social. I'm like, I don't know. I know WhatsApp. But it's kind of like, so you can just start, you can add all of those socials in here and then they'll automatically just pull into your email signature, which is really beneficial. And so we've even updated our email signature to help with that part out. So those are really good things that, again, we're just trying to build that's always been our mission, is to build the best real estate CRM platform for our members to be successful in what it is that they do, which is selling real estate. So our job is to know technology, and it's your job to know like your local market and what's happening in the real estate industry, and keep a pulse on that, and not really have to be like, oh my gosh, what's happening in tech and what's happening here and there and everything else. So we handle that part for you.
Absolutely.
So
I think another one of the really great tools
yeah.
in the Wise Agent dashboard is the AI content writer. I know we were talking a lot about, sending out email content and sending out text messages and things like that. And it can be really hard as someone, I really love writing, and it's really hard to be able to come up with content on a regular basis that is relevant to people and that is interesting and is well written. And it can be pretty time consuming. So I think the AI writing assistant that we have that utilizes ChatGPT is a phenomenal feature in the platform. I've actually not seen it utilized in a CRM before I came over to Wise Agent. So it was one of the things that I was really impressed with when I came over. And it's a very easy tool to use. You literally just have to click on the AI writing assistant button. As soon as you click on that button, it is automatically going to populate a slide out, and you just have to write in a short 1-sentence prompt that says something like, write an email about why it's good idea to buy properties in Scottsdale, and the AI writing assistant will automatically start developing that content for you. Obviously, it's a good idea to make sure you're reading that content, because unfortunately, I have also seen situations where an individual might just grab that content, plug it into the email, and then send it out. You want to make sure that it is relevant. It's not going to be perfect every time, but that AI writing assistant tool is really invaluable because it saves so much time. And I think that the content that it provides is really good. And so if it's not something that you've already checked out in the Wise Agent platform, it's definitely a good idea to do so. You can find it in that content library to help you build out templates when you're sending text messages. We've really tried to make it as convenient for you to use as possible in the system.
Yeah, I do love that. I mean, it is nice. It gives you that leg up to give you, like, if you have writer's block, to kind of, what do I want to say? How do I say this? I will say that I would probably just give it more than just one sentence. I would give it like, how do you want the reader to feel? What's the tone that you're trying, like what's the tone of the email? And then what's the like, you could even give it like a prompt of like what emotion you want the reader to convey. So like you want them to feel like they've been heard, or they're, like so they can understand certain things. I know, one of my friends out of Chicago, Carrie Little, she uses a lot of AI within her business to analyze some of the data from like the MLSs. So if there's a lot of like what's happening, in the market that you're in, taking some of that, like running a report from your MLS saying like what's, time on market and average price per home, and doing all of this stuff, and have ChatGPT have them analyze that, have it analyze that, and then write up, and then send that email out to that area, that local market, and be able to convey it in a way where it's like not everyone is going to understand all of those analytical reports. So being able to say like, here's kind of a summary of what this report says, and like, here you go. That's a great way of even doing like a lead magnet. So I love when I saw that from Carrie on Instagram. I was like, oh my gosh, Carrie, I love this. And she's using a landing page to create that lead magnet. I think it's a fabulous idea, and more and more people should be doing that. So I love that one too. We've got a few more minutes here. I wanted to go over one more thing where it's kind of like, what are some of the things I love giving people kind of like a sneak peek of what's coming and what's happening. So I want to do that before we end this. And kind of talk a little bit about like the landing pages and that lead magnet, as I see some of the chat kind of lighting up here with some of those thoughts. And so I can share my screen to give you that those like little tips on what that would be like. So when you're doing something like that, so you can absolutely use the AI writing assistant to like have it analyze any numbers and any things in a particular neighborhood or area. And then, with a quick click of a button, let me see if I could copy this really quick. So I'm just going to take that so I don't have to type my own prompt. And then I could, like, once this is generated, I just would click on the content here. It will fill out in my text editor, where then I can be able to edit everything, and then I can save it. And it's stored here for anyone that I want to send this to later on, because maybe I'm analyzing that data to send to the existing contacts that I have today, but maybe tomorrow I'm hosting an open house, and anybody else that's coming to that open house, I want them to also get this information. And so what you can do is you can say, well, okay, I'm going to reuse this in this aspect in this way. So repurposing and reusing your content is a great way of doing that. And so that's what we have here. You would save it and kind of go on from there. But this is, and then the way you would use our landing pages would be to set up that lead magnet. Is once you have that content of whatever it is that you're giving away, analyze data or whatever it is, then you would just use one of our templates here and have somebody fill out that form. It could be, hey, do you want to do a home valuation? And you kind of add some more wording in here, like, and the data that you're sending them is specifically about the area that you're going to be targeting, those people that you're going to be targeting, and say like, hey, do you want to know, based on this information, do you want to know what your home is worth? I can send you what's been happening in the market, but send me your information. I can send you a CMA. And so this is a great way to get people to fill out this form. And then you use our lead rule system to then create that rule of, okay, I want to auto respond to them, and I want them to get a automated cloud CMA immediately upon submitting their contact information. And so this is a great way of utilizing that whole entire system. And then, of course, you can add them to a drip campaign and so on and so forth. Okay.
Absolutely.
So.
I think the the idea of utilizing the landing pages with that call to action, but giving them something in return is really important, because it really gives your leads the ability to look forward to something, to receiving, and it gives them that incentive to fill out the form, because everyone knows you go to every website and there's a lot of form captures out there, and so giving your leads the incentive to want to do something. So you're providing them with that data, you're providing them with that CMA, that's adding value to them. And it's also helping you collect their information so you can build that rapport with them later on, which will lead to that transaction. So it's a really great feature.
Yeah. So a couple of things I know, what I wanted to mention was, we're going to be doing some updates on some things, one being our email editor. We've talked a lot on this webinar about our emails. And so that's going to be updated here in the very near future, where there's going to be giving you all a little bit more capability of creating some more creating your content in the way that you want, in the fashion that you want, and making it a little bit easier on you. So that's a big one that I think is going to be really, really beneficial to you all. But I know we're also going to be adding in some MLSs and some more, so you're able to pull in your listings, so then you can create landing pages to draw people to maybe your open house, or to have a single property page out on, promoted out on your social media or whatever it is, or promote it even within the emails that you're sending out, like your monthly emails that you're sending out. So those are really some new things that are coming out.
Absolutely. And just just to kind of expand on the additional MLSs, Eleni, we do have a form that our support team can send out to you. You can also find on our website as well. So if we do not currently support your MLS, feel free to send out that form to us so that we can reach out to that individual MLS and find out if an integration is possible. We're always looking for additional partnerships. Again, our biggest, pathway to success is for you guys to be successful, and having the ability to pull in those properties within the platform is huge because it does allow you to create those landing pages, to create flyers, to send out to your market, to send out email content. And so if you do have an active listing through an MLS, but we do not support that MLS, please let us know so that way we can work on getting them integrated within the system.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I know it's always something that people are wanting, and so we're always there for you guys on that. What else? I don't think we touched too much on texting, and I know that's one. I don't know if we have, because that can be in depth. I mean, I know Erica, you and I can talk about texting and like compliant, just like the compliance part. We could talk about that for like an hour. But like in the 9 minutes that we have left. I'm going to show, first of all, though, how the texting works, because I think this is a really, really fantastic feature if it's used properly, right? So you want to look at what emails you're sending. And sometimes if you're like, hey, I'm not seeing, people reading some of these messages, you could send out a monthly newsletter, even in an email. If you're like, I know this person, they always reply to me on text, like they're just texters. They're not email people. They're just not. That's fine. Like go ahead and send them your newsletter. We give you a link for it. And so you can link it into your text messages and just say like, okay, I want to send this person a text message. I'm just going to do like a generic select all. And, so you can add links and URLs in here and whatnot, but you can also add images. So if you have a property that that you've listed, that you may have buyers in that area that might be interested, you can absolutely send them that flyer. You can create that flyer and just say like, okay, I want to send them this. Here's this property flyer. And then I want to write out, my message. Again, use that placeholder, that first name placeholder throughout the body of the message, not just in the beginning. And then send this message out to your database. I think that's a great way to get some responses too.
Absolutely. And I just wanted to, because I know you mentioned we can absolutely talk about compliance a lot. So really quickly, I just wanted to kind of highlight some points about SMS compliance, just to make sure that you're not automatically starting to send text messages out, which is obviously a very invaluable tool within the platform. If you think about the frequency that an individual, even personally, how often it is that you get a text message, you're going to read it because you're receiving a text message. It might be from a family member or a friend or work. And so the odds of you reading that text message are a lot greater than you reading an email that someone sent you, especially because with an email, you've got that subject line. You can identify right off the bat, am I even going to open this and give it the time of day? A text message comes in, the chances of you reading it are much, much higher. So utilizing that tool to reach out to your contact list is super important, but it's also important to make sure that you're doing it in a way that is compliant. There are new regulations around text messaging, and just like with our email compliance, we do have an SMS compliance policy, and we can send some information out about that as well. But it's really important to make sure that you know what is allowed and what is not allowed within text messaging. So I know Lenny mentioned kind of sending links. If you are sending out a shortened URL like a bit.ly link, which I know is a really convenient way to kind of send out a super lengthy URL, unfortunately, cell phone carriers do not like shortened links. So odds are if you send out that shortened URL within the Wise Agent platform, that message may not be delivered. So it's a really good idea to take a look at our SMS compliance policy just to make sure that what's allowed. We do also have a feature within the Wise Agent platform called the sign writer feature, which allows you to generate a code that you can then say, hey, if you'd like more information about this, text the code 567 back to this number, and a text message will automatically be sent out to that individual in response. And that is a way that you can kind of get around sending out URLs, because a lot of times carriers will look at those text messages and assume that they're spam, and then they won't end up getting delivered. in the instance that something happens and you notice that your text messages aren't being delivered, which is also something that we will notify you of, just like your emails. If you send out a bulk message in the Wise Agent platform, we've made it really easy for you to identify which individuals are actually receiving those messages. You can see that right from your text report in the dashboard. If you notice that a large number of those messages have not been delivered, absolutely recommend that you reach out to the support team to get some information on why those messages aren't being delivered, because a lot of times it could be because that phone number may be a landline and they're not eligible to receive text messages, or that phone number is no longer valid or is not in service anymore. And so there's a lot of different things that you kind of have to keep in mind with regards to the SMS text messaging, but it's just like email content. You want to make sure that the information that you're sending out does not read like it's spam language. You want to make sure that you're giving them a call to action and you're sending out content in those messages that are relevant to them. So as Eleni said, if you know someone that you believe would benefit from receiving that newsletter, and you want to send it out to them, just make sure that you're doing it in a way that is compliant. Always make sure that you're branding your messages, include your sender identification so they know who that message is coming from, because odds are if you have not sent them a text message before, they may not know who's sending them a text message. So you want to make sure to include a signature in those messages as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Great stuff there. I know we're running low on time, and I want to say that I appreciate Miranda and Colleen being our moderators here, sharing all of the information. They've been sharing links like crazy, like on all the topics that we're talking about. So thank you, ladies, for doing that. One thing that I did want to mention is that if you have any questions, you can just email our support staff. Our support staff is fantastic. They get back to you really quickly. So if you send out a message to support@wiseagent.com, they will reply back to you. And so we're always happy to assist you with that. I know travel season is upon us, so we're going to be, I know our team is going to be in Florida, in Orlando for Florida Association of Realtors in the next coming, I think like a week or so. I will not be there this time around. I'm sad to miss it. I haven't missed it in a very long time, so I'm sad to miss it. But we'll be out and about, and then we will be back on the webinar series September 4th at 10 a.m. And my guest at that time is going to be Nick Crowder. He's the author of The Golden Handoff. And so we're going to be talking about how to sell, your real estate business when you retire. And so this is going to be a great topic, and I'm excited to have him on, and he's our first time guest. So it's going to be fantastic to hear all about how you can utilize and how you really need to be setting up your CRM now so you can think about your future, for retirement. And I know sometimes that gets hard to think about, but that's always a good little topic there. So thank you so much, Erika, for joining today and for your time. And so we're excited that you're part of our team now, and you've been with us for some time. So we're happy to have you be on the webinar. And thank you to everyone for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a really great time. Thank you for everyone who participated and all the questions. As Eleni mentioned, if you have any additional questions that you didn't get to pose here, feel free to reach out to our support team. They are also available 24/7. So if you have a question in the middle of the night that you're not able to get to sleep, our support team is going to be there. So feel free to send out a message.
I know I have done that, and they have been like right on top of it. I'm like, okay, I need to get to sleep, but I need to know this answer. They are fantastic at that. So awesome. Thanks for sharing that too. All right, everyone. I will see you guys September 4th. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.